Hello, thank you for tuning in to Scruffy Politics. Please subscribe and like. We need the subscribers. There is a story today about Congresswoman Jasmin Crockett. She made a comment about Governor Abbott of Texas being Mr. Hot Wheels. For those who don't know, he's in a wheelchair. I think he's paralyzed from the waist down. This shouldn't be that huge of a story. It doesn't affect any of us. It's words. She should not have said it. It's very rude. She should apologize for saying it. On the flip side, though, the Republicans who are criticizing her for it, they're probably being hypocritical because a lot of them defend Donald Trump a lot of the time, and Donald Trump in the past has called women terrible names. He's made fun of other groups of people and people who are disadvantaged. So it's not really like the Republicans have the MAGA Republicans have a lot to, you know, criticize Crockett about. Like I said, it's not that huge of a story in my opinion, but it is interesting how people are reacting.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, this is how people talk in Washington. They all are rude people to some degree. They saw this different type of stuff, but I just think that people should not be criticizing Trump or trying to put him in jail or bring court cases against him if they're going to talk and act the same way, which clear they are. I mean, Jasmine Crockett made some comments, about Ted Cruz as well, saying that something he should be punched in the head or something. And Tim Walz made a comment recently that he could beat up MAGA people. So it's like, hey, that's fine. If you want to talk that way, I believe in free speech. I'm adult enough. I can handle whatever it is you're going to say. But don't then turn around and say when Donald Trump says something, oh, well, he needs to be arrested and put in jail and we're going to call it a felony and he has to go away for the rest of his life. I mean, you're doing the same thing. So get off your high horse. Stop acting so moralistic about it. And let's all learn to have a little bit of decorum.
It is funny that you mentioned Ted Cruz. Trump did accuse Ted Cruz's father a while back ago of being part of the JFK assassination plot or something like that. It is kind of funny. He said something like he was hanging out with Lee Harvey Oswald, before the assassination happened. I don't know if there's proof of that, but it is funny how and I'm sure Ted Cruz, he forgives Donald Trump for that because Ted Cruz has no backbone, and Donald Trump also called Ted Cruz's wife ugly, and and Ted Cruz is fine with that. Ted Cruz is more loyal to the president than he is to his wife. So if someone called my wife ugly, I don't think I would be friends with them. But hey, that's how it is in Washington with these people. But yeah,
I mean,
either side should. I don't think either side should make disparaging remarks about others. I'm sure Jasmine Crockett will apologize. But on the other hand, Republicans, you've got people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, as a congresswoman too, who's made terrible comments in the past, also about people and about the Parkland shooting. So I mean, yeah, like you said, it goes both ways.
Well, the best explanation of this phenomena comes from Kamala Harris herself, queen of the Venn diagram, and the word salad, because she, on the debate stage, called Joe Biden a segregationist and a racist. And then she accepted to be his vice president. And when asked about it, she simply said, it was a primary. It was a primary, yes. People. Come on. It's not that big a deal. Yes. I didn't mean it. Yes. I'd love to go work for Joe Biden.
Yes, so it happens on both sides. It happens on both sides, in which Joe Biden, I'm sure he would have had a more successful first term had he had a better vice president. I couldn't stand her as his vice president. However, she's more qualified than Donald Trump. But yeah, so it goes to show that in Washington, they're all ugly on the inside, and the out. So yeah. So but yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
So
so I mean, the other thing that's interesting about this is, she's been doing this quite a bit lately. She is definitely trying to create her brand. She wants to be a firebrand. I almost feel like she's trying to steal the spotlight from AOC, because AOC
yeah.
tends to be a little more leftist with her policies and ideas, but she's much more controlled with her language. There's been several times where other people of that so-called squad will go off the rails and say something pretty crazy, and then when they run to AOC for comment, she kind of separates herself from that group. So it just shows that whoever is talking in her ear is trying to keep her on the straight and narrow path, saying, hey, you have a chance to be a senator or a leader in this party, maybe a House Speaker like a Nancy Pelosi. I said before in our last video that I do think they'll try to run her for president at some point. Jasmine Crockett is definitely, I think she's trying to be loud. I think she's trying to be controversial because she's trying to get attention.
Yeah.
And I think that's just,
yeah.
it's unfortunate, but, we live in an age where some of these younger people are going to Congress now and they think it's an Instagram battle of popularity. So they're saying the craziest thing that gets the most likes, gets the social media attention. Maybe they want to be on TikTok, so the younger generation will vote for them next. I'm not quite sure. It's a very negative thing in our society, though. I mean, we see it in all aspects of society, and unfortunately, it's now trickling into the world of government as well, which is not great.
Yeah, that's true. I think with Jasmine Crockett, this fame has gotten to her head.
Yep.
Just like so many people. She might have good intentions at times. I don't think she's a terrible person. Like I think of some others in Congress and in the Senate. However, yeah, she needs to kind of dial it back some and be
I
more
mean,
professional. And
if you
I think this comes down to though. Also, back in 2016, Michelle Obama said, "When they go low, we go high." Okay, and I think the Democrats they've tried that and they failed with that, and because they don't have strong leadership. In the House now, I think it's Hakeem Jeffries, and before him it was Pelosi. Weak leadership, very weak. And in the Senate, it's Chuck Schumer, who he's one of the worst. He needs to go. The guy is a sellout. So I think the Democrats are just a lot of them are just at their wits' end with what's happening in this country right now, with seeing the corruption that is happening right now in the Musk Trump administration. So it is kind of a lot of them are kind of like, yeah, we need to play, we need to fight fire with fire, and no more of this. When they go low, we go high, because that hasn't worked in the past. In life, that's how it should work. But just kind of like when you see a guy behind you, a road rager, you turn to the side of the road, let the guy pass you, right? But that's not how it's done in Washington D.C.
Well, it's a very interesting crossroads that Democrats find themselves at, because a lot of Democrats are voicing this opinion that they wish that the people in Congress would fight more or fight harder because they're frustrated at what they're seeing. But mostly what you're seeing from the Democrats is, they're saying, hey, Trump's a bad guy. Now they're saying Musk is a bad guy. Now you've got, violence aimed at Musk and Tesla, but they're not really coming forward with better ideas, and that's really where they need to try to win voters back. So
True.
you look at all the voters that they lost in the last election, and really what it boils down to is, so what are you going to do differently, and what is your message to those people? Why don't you calmly come forward with a message for those people and see if you can get them excited about it and have that start resonating around the country, instead of just running around saying Musk's a bad guy and he's got to go, don't buy a Tesla. I mean, that's not going to win you the next election.
That's true, and they need to come up with better ideas. They are correct though about Musk. Musk is he's come in, he's unelected, and it is funny. There is an audio that was leaked of JD Vance having a hissy fit about Elon Musk. I'm sure the White House will say that it's AI generated and fake. So there really is, I don't think, real proof yet of it, but so
that video did not sound realistic to me.
However,
It was a recording of a
it sounded
sound
like
from a
him.
speaker, so it wasn't firsthand. It wasn't like two people in the room and I secretly recorded you with my cell phone. That's not what it was. So right there makes a suspect. And I've watched JD Vance do several interviews, many interviews, all throughout last year through the election cycle. He just doesn't talk that way, so I don't know if it's AI generated or what it is. But
I don't know. It sounded like him. However, JD Vance probably is somewhat jealous. I mean, here's Trump the father, and he has his Elon here, and there's JD here, but JD's way back here now, and Musk is here. So I'm sure JD Vance is very jealous of Musk's attention. However, but back to Jasmine Crockett. She should apologize, which I think she will. That's not how it should be done, but both sides do it. It's ugly. There's a lot of ugly people in Washington. So
yeah, we both agree on that. All right, we'll end it there. So if you agree with anything we've said, leave a comment. If you disagree with something that we've said, leave a comment and we'll respond. We thank you for listening. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and that will do it for us today. Thank you all very much.
yeah.
Bye-bye.